Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with KD. In the meantime, let's bring in a great friend of the show to dissect it all. Zach Brook with NBC Sports Washington. Thank you so much for joining us, Zach. We'll pick it up with the Durant conversation. Okay, so judging by the Warriors update today, he will be reevaluated exactly 1 week from today, which means he would be out for games 3, 4, and 5. How will that affect the complexion of this series?
I don't think he's going to play for the remainder of the playoffs because has he been sitting sidelined? Because most people I know, when they strain their calf, they can still attend events. I think it's more serious than people think, and I think this is going to extend until his free agency period comes up. Because if he does, in fact, have a torn Achilles, that's going to impact his market value. And I think with the strained calf, I feel like it wouldn't take this long. And I feel like you'd see him out there, at least cheering on his team, unless it's something really severe. Maybe they're just trying to keep under wraps. But I was not surprised to hear that when they ruled him out for games 1 and 2. I was not surprised to hear what he's out for games 3 and 4. And I just wonder if this is like a week-to-week thing to see how long they can stretch it, to see how long they can go without him. I don't think he's going to play the remainder of the postseason.
Zach, conspiracy theorist over here. You're one of the first people I've heard say that you're still worried about Kevin Durant's potentially ruptured Achilles. So that's going to definitely be an interesting storyline that we're going to have to keep our eye on from now on. But we do want to get your thoughts on the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 1 last night, Bucks-Raptors, and the Bucks put together a great fourth quarter to take that game 1. What were your biggest takeaways from the game?
One, I think it was a great effort by Toronto. You finally saw Kyle Lowry show up in the postseason for the first time in God knows how long. And I liked their scheme. They were blowing him out the entire game, but Milwaukee came right back. Brook Lopez, it's great. I haven't seen him play that well since Brooklyn. But the one knock I would say on Nick Nurse is late in that game when they were down 4. Why exactly are you going to Marc Gasol? He hasn't done anything for you since he came there in February. And I think there was about 30 seconds left, and they could have easily made it like a 2-possession. They could have made it a single possession game, and they went to him, who hasn't been consistent since he's been there. And it basically cost them, because from there on out, it was just free throws for Milwaukee. And for the fact that Giannis didn't have the best game, Middleton didn't have the best game, and they still came back from a double-digit lead, that's concerning for Toronto. And you got a decent effort out of Siakam and Lowry, but it's still the collective group. I was thinking yesterday when I'm seeing this, I'm like, oh my God, they're blowing him out. I'm like, is Nick Nurse the Sean McVay of the NBA? Like, this guy is a whiz. In his first season, he's just tearing it apart. But that was a rookie coach mistake last night, giving it to Marc Gasol, and it ultimately cost him the game. I think they'll come back, but Giannis didn't play well last night, and he didn't play well in Game 1 versus Boston. You saw what he did in Game 2.
Yeah, Giannis does have an ability to adjust. I like that. Nick Nurse, the Sean McVay of the NBA. Okay, we'll have to see if the hairstyles change too. If Brook Lopez is hitting threes like he was last night for Milwaukee, are the Bucks unbeatable?
I think it means that you're going to have to go with less Marc Gasol and more Serge Ibaka because he can stretch the floor. I don't know if I'd say they're unbeatable, but I saw that he had more threes last night than he did in his first 8 seasons with the Nets. So it's remarkable he's added the three-pointer to his game, but I don't think you can expect to see that every game. But you saw how into it he was, and I think he's going to be ready to play and be ready to challenge from here on out. And I think he's going to be a major factor because you really haven't seen much from him in the first 2 rounds. But that was great to see him step up when the team really needed him most.
One of the best things about the NBA, Zach, is the fact that they keep all the action going. They have their draft lottery right in the middle of the NBA playoffs. Something to whet your NBA appetite every single day. What did you make of the way that went down, and what do you think the Pelicans are going to end up doing with that number 1 pick? Is it Zion or the Highway?
Personally, I love the draft lottery. I look forward to it every year. I don't know, like, it can't get any better. You sit there for 30 minutes to wait, and then you got Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum coming out with an envelope that's guarded by the NBA's law firm. And then you got these difficult combinations that most people don't understand. But it was great. The new format worked. And I know some teams really kind of got the short end of the stick. Atlanta had the 4th best odds. They got 8 and 10, and they were hoping to get potentially number 1 or 2. Lakers somehow slipped to 4. And the Knicks were really mad about getting to 3, even though they only had a 14% chance at number 1. The Pelicans were the complete wild card. People completely counted them out. People were thinking, okay, they're going to trade Davis. They're going to get Zion. But what happens if they have both? What now? I think it's great for David Griffin. I think it's great for the Pelicans. Zion, I think he's going to love New Orleans. He didn't seem too excited the other night, but he seems like a good eater, and I'm sure they have some exquisite cuisine down there. And he's from the South. He's going to enjoy it, and I think they can make it, if they decide to move on from Davis, they can put a great assortment of players around him and really make it, if they potentially want to make a move to the Knicks, bring Barrett down there, recreate what they did at Duke last year, and just watch them grow. I think it's going to be really exciting for New Orleans, and personally, if they don't want to play Zion for 82 games, they could play him 30 games like they did at Duke, and I'm sure Sean Payton could use him in his scheme somehow.
That works. That works. Do you see Anthony Davis being moved sometime before the draft, and which team seems to have the most enticing package, if that's the case?
Before the draft, no, I don't think so. I think David Griffin, he's been trying profusely to try to just give his reign a shot. And I think David Griffin, I think the latest they will trade him is the deadline, because that's when you could potentially get something for him, or you're going to lose him for nothing. And I think they're going to try to work with him and Zion to see maybe they got something there. And if not, for teams in terms of most compelling packages that could be offered during the season, I would say it's Boston. But now that Irving's leaving, I don't think they're going to make an offer. And if they do, it's going to be much less than they were previously contemplating. The Lakers package, they got a great pick, but it's still those same your same three guys. Brandon Ingram still got he's got the blood clots. Lonzo Ball's still got, personally, I think his father is remarkable, but he could be an issue for some organizations. And Kuzma is a great shooter, but I don't think he's getting any better. So that's a great package there. Then the Knicks could offer number 4, Kevin Knox, who really didn't prove too much for me in his rookie year. Mitchell Robinson, I'm not sure if they're willing to part with him, and that pick. But I don't think that his Anthony Davis at peak value, you're not going to get that. And they're going to get less because they know he wants out. And it's also going to be a team, if the team realizes that maybe he's not going to resign, they're not going to offer as much. But I think there might be some dark horses out there. I don't think it's just New York. I don't think it's just LA. But it's going to be heating up soon. So it's going to be really cool to see who they bring down to kind of build around Zion.
Let's circle back to where we started this conversation, Zach, with the Golden State Warriors. Now that we know that they won't have Kevin Durant, at least for a couple more games of this series, and according to you, the rest of the postseason, what do you think that means for the Golden State Warriors and their prospects in the rest of these Western Conference Finals?
Well, right now they're struggling to Portland, but that's expected because you knew they were going to rebound. Even though Lillard's not having the best game, you're still getting a great contribution from C.J. McCollum and Rodney Hood off the bench. And I think Portland, personally, even though you don't want to be down 0-1 in a series, I think if you have the talent to make it a 5 or 6 game series, kind of seeing your opponent's hand in the first game, I think it does give you some advantages early on. And I think maybe they saw what the Warriors were going to do without Durant, and maybe they made the adjustments for tonight. So I hope they can make it a series, and then you'll really get to see how healthy Durant is, because once Portland wins a game, if he is healthy to play, he's going to want to get back on the court. And if they don't let him, that'll tell you when he's going to be back. But I think I like Portland tonight. It's not really much of a take because they're up right now. Wouldn't win much money on that bet. But I think they're going to take this one. I think Damian Lillard wants to rebound from his poor performance in Game 1. And I think this one's going to be a good series. It's not going to be a blowout like we saw the other night. I think we're going to see some more competitive games from here on out.
A lot to be figured out, all right? And a lot of questions in the West right now. And, this is really shaping up to be a dramatic NBA postseason leading up to the finals. Zach Brooke with NBC Sports Washington. Thank you so much for your time and insight. We love it, Zach. Thank you. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Zach.
Appreciate it. Thanks.